Hi Abbie, thank you very much for coming today. Today we're going to discuss the University of Sunderland versus Hull game, the University of Sunderland versus Sheffield game, and then we're going to compare the two. Natalie's going to talk through the University of Sunderland versus Hull game.
Right, so obviously we've set up an infographic here so we can look at the statistics, so you can see what we've looked at. Obviously that game was home 43 and away 27, and we've separated it down into looking at what we want to do the KPIs, which was goal attack, goalkeeper and goal shooter. So the first one here with a graph, we've made a graph here for the goal attack to show the shot rate.
Yep.
So the shot rate for game one identified the unsuccessful shots were higher than the successful, as you can see in the graph there.
Yeah.
And then the pass success was very high compared to the failure passes. We've obviously looked at the rebounds as well in here. The KPIs show the goal attack made no errors with rebounds. It was very good, successful at saving them.
Yep.
And then the goalkeeper, the graph here shows the defence we looked at. The unsuccessful defence KPI was higher than the successful and changed over throughout the quarters. And the rebounds, the successful rebounds analysed was higher compared to the unsuccessful. Doing well obviously was successful rebound, it was a good impact within game one.
Yep.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
And goal shooter, we looked at the shot. So the shot rate was successful. It was very high compared to the unsuccessful shots. The rebound, the successful rebound was slightly lower than the unsuccessful. Therefore, this could be missed rebound scores might have helped throughout the game. So you can see here we've got a few images on there to show you.
Yeah.
So the things we've got feedback to improve, we've basically got the first thing we've looked at was the shooting. So this game was really good. However, the shooting we would maybe suggest with a couple of techniques and drills for accuracy of the performance.
Yeah.
So there was a couple of shots that maybe was missed. So this might be doing maybe some cone drills, maybe in the circle to practice that. The pass success for goal attack was really good. Although what we would suggest maybe is slowing the pace down a little bit. It was quite fast. Where sometimes they like drop the ball by mistake, and that might stop it. And shorter ones maybe because some of them were quite long. And then the rebounds was good. Just to improve the rebounds, you could do drills of accuracy with angle, direction, and stuff like that. The goalkeeper we found, the next one, was the defence, I think. Looking at obviously the drills such as speed, footwork, sometimes we found she was slightly slower at blocking it and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
For the defence, and so maybe change it up in training where you add a few more drills. However, it was good rebounds. They were consistent, but maybe it's just play around with a couple of drills.
Yeah.
The next one was the last one was the goal shooter for feedback, which it was still good because they won. However, there was a couple, there wasn't much difference. So as I said there, the successful shots and unsuccessful, there wasn't much difference between them. We would just suggest, like I said there, with the cone game as well, the cone drills, to help them with the shots, near or not, whether or not they can get them in the net with different drills. And then the rebounds for goal shooter was really good. Maybe it's changing around to thinking, practicing different techniques. Last one for goal shoot was body position. So sometimes using the same body position, the other person knew what she was maybe going to do.
Yeah.
So change it around with like throwing it into an empty space with the one hand, or using two hands to try and save the ball. Using different techniques that way might help.
Yeah.
Overall, we thought game one was brilliant. Obviously, just change a few things in training with drills and techniques.
Yeah.
Maybe it's one thing suggestion would, I know obviously you maybe were saying that before you were going to do it, is video analysis like we've done, and set one up just for your feedback to them as well.
Yeah.
All right, so let's go over to Zara.
Perfect. So the next game that I will look at is the University of Sunderland versus Sheffield. Obviously, it was slightly disappointing because we did slightly lose. The score was Sunderland 33 and the away team Sheffield had 39. So the first thing that we looked at was the goal attack. The goal attack had a slightly disappointing game. The goal attack had more unsuccessful shots than successful, so obviously if it had been the other way around, that's where the points may have came from. The goal attack pass success rate was amazing though compared to the pass failure in game 2, but what we found is in the game against Sheffield it was slower compared to game 1. And then the goal attack was successful in retrieving the rebounds as well. To be honest, she didn't actually, every time they had a rebound, she did actually retrieve that straight away. When looking at the goalkeeper, the goalkeeper didn't have the best game. The goalkeeper was unsuccessful in defending several times. The other team shot against her the goalkeeper also had a high amount of successful rebounds, so that was a really good positive. Whenever the Sheffield did go to score and if they did miss, the goalkeeper was on form to retrieve them. The next thing is goal shooter. The goal shoot had a high success rate compared to unsuccessful rate. However, it was very close, and if the goal shooter had had more successful shots compared to unsuccessful, this may have helped them win the game. The goal shooter was very slow on the rebounds and give possession of the ball to the other team, so maybe if they'd been more successful on the rebounds, that may have given them another opportunity to score. So just a little bit of feedback that we've decided for the goal attack. The goal attack just needs to focus on more shooting techniques. So in training, the shooting techniques could be from different angles of the court, obviously focusing on shooting from other angles on the court, and then to continue focusing on passing, because the pass rate, even though the pass rate was amazing, but just to continue focusing on that as well. For the goalkeeper, the feedback for the goalkeeper is to stay focused and keep an eye on the ball at all times. The goalkeeper kept losing the ball, and also to keep an eye on her opponent throughout the game. In training, she could work with obviously with that team to make sure that she is keeping an eye on the player who she's defending. The goalkeeper should work towards defending the ball. For goal shoot, she did have a great game with the successful shots, but the goal shoot should continue to focus on the shooting to get a higher shot rate. In training, I would just recommend more shooting techniques from different angles as well, just to try and get whatever position that they are to make it slightly more confident.
Yeah. Right, so we're going to look at the comparison. So we've put some stats together for you to look at, looking at game 1 and game 2.
Yeah.
After analysing both games. So
So when we've looked at the goal attack had a stronger performance in game 1 compared to game 2. Goal attack had 20 successful shots in game 1 compared to 7 in game 2, and obviously in game 1 they did win the game. Goal attack had 7 unsuccessful shots in game 1 compared to game 2, where goal attack had 12 unsuccessful shots. Goal attack also had 38 successful passes in game 1 compared to 34 successful passes in game 2.
And then we'll look at the goalkeeper. So we've got obviously the graph here as well for you to see. The goalkeeper successfully defended 18 times compared to game 1 when only 2 successfully defended 6 times. Game 2, goalkeeper had a lot more involvement with the game, unsuccessfully defending 42 times, comparing the rebound of success. Goalkeeper performed slightly better in game 2, also shown a lower level of unsuccessful rebounds compared to game 1.
Yeah. And then the last thing that we noticed when comparing was that the goal shooter performed stronger in game 1 compared to game 2. Goal shooter had 22 successful shots in game 1 compared to game 2. Goal shooter performance in unsuccessful shots showed no difference in both games. In game 2, the goal shooter was more successful in rebounds compared to game 1, but there was also more unsuccessful in retrieving rebounds in game 2.
So, comparing both of them and then looking at game 1 and 2, how do you feel with the feedback that we've given you?
It's really interesting actually to see what you've pointed out, because all the things that you've pointed out are things that I tell them to do, like, or look at in training. The goal attack, for example, is a difficult one because she does actually usually play wing attack. That's her preferred position. But when she plays goal attack, if she misses a couple of shots in a row, she gets her head down and then it all goes to pot.
Right.
So I can understand the shooting statistics from that point of view. And with reference to the goal shooter, the girl that was playing goal shooter on both these games, is a very static shooter. She just stand and ask for the ball over the top. So like where you've recommended that she like looks at different patterns of movement, because they will judge, the defensive team will judge where the ball's going to go, like that's spot on, because that is what happens. She doesn't move, so they know that she'll stay in that same position all the time.
Right.
So yeah, that's like, it's helpful to know that that's not just me thinking that as the coach. It's nice to know that statistically that is what's happening. With regards to the goalkeeper, she has come to me before asking to work on her agility, because she is tall, which is why she'll get the rebounds, which you've pointed out. But I know as a taller person, it is quite difficult to be like more agile. You know, when you're small and nippy, it's easier for you to get round people. Whereas she does find it difficult to get round people. And like you say, if she's looking away from the ball, by the time she's realised the ball's gone over her head, it's already there. So yeah, it's good to know that what you've picked out are things that I know we're not doing quite so well, and it's good for me to then be able to feed that back to the team and say, look, it isn't just me that's saying that. I'm not just like nagging at you to do it. Like statistically, it's shown that these are the areas we need to work on, and it's things that I can work on in training. So yeah, it's good.
By all means, you can take these statistics and show them if you would like, so they kind of have a bit of obviously knowledge of what they are doing as well. Because I did notice with your goal attack when you said that there, she got a bit obviously
she lets
down
it
deflated.
She lets it get on top of her.
If that happened, but overall, I think the game 1 was brilliant, wasn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
And then I think, like, unfortunately with game 2, maybe it was a bit of a tougher team. Maybe
game 1 was a cup game and they were a couple of leagues lower, which is going back to as well when you said about the speed of the game. That's probably why we ended up racing, because we thought like, oh yeah, they're a lower team. If we play faster, then we'll probably do better against them.
Yeah.
Whereas when we played Sheffield, that's the team in our league.
Yeah.
So that's when it's a
challenging.
bit more challenging. So yeah, we couldn't play at the pace that we wanted to and that we played at against Hull. And so we obviously had to slow ourselves down, and when we do play fast, we do make errors, like you say, like drop balls and people trying to catch with one hand and do daft things like that. So yeah, I think the level of the team that we were playing does contribute massively to the pace, and evidently to the success of things like passes and shots and rebounds and that kind of stuff. So
Right,
So that's
great.
it, yeah.
Yeah, thank you very much for your time, Abbie.
no problem.
Thank you.